Today, Destiny 2 saw the arrival of a brand new patch that added several things, but chief among them, a complete revamp for how Nightfalls work in-game. Was this a positive step forward? Was this a step backwards? And is there more that needs to be done? Let's talk about it. What is up, guys? Rick Kakis back from the fun and the sun of my vacation in Miami into the bitter cold of Canada, and yeah, we're gonna be talking about this new patch that hit today, and chiefly focusing on Nightfalls. Nightfalls have been changed completely, which is actually a pretty big update. Like, the way you play Nightfalls, just the feel of it, completely different experience. And this is going a lot towards making Destiny 2, if this all works, a more positive experience. I know a lot of people are already saying, you know, this isn't a big enough change, I'm waiting for an endgame, I'm waiting for raid changes, and that is totally fair. I totally understand the argument. But all of these little things need to happen in conjunction of the big things, the meta change, the exotic pass, mods 2.0, so that when all of those things are added, when mods are hopefully fixed, when the exotics are hopefully actually usable, you know, when all these big changes come, you'll have stuff to do. If all these big changes come and then it's just the same old boring Nightfall where you're running past half the enemies, not even shooting them with your new mods, or using your new mods, or using your new exotics, it's not going to be a fun experience. So all of these kind of smaller-ish changes need to happen first, so that when these big changes arrive, you can actually have stuff to do and have an enjoyable experience. So again, it's very frustrating. I know a lot of you guys, it's very frustrating kind of getting dragged along another small update, but hopefully all of these updates will snowball into just a better product. That's what I'm hoping. But let's talk about those Nightfall changes. So in the past, Nightfalls were just running past everything. That was really the goal. It was all about the time limit. Now, I didn't necessarily hate this change. I wouldn't say I liked it, but I wasn't just absolutely rallying against the new Nightfall experience, because it was certainly a different experience than Destiny 1. And it was, for the first few weeks or even few months, it was kind of enjoyable figuring out the speedrunning tactics of all of the different strikes and figuring out where you can run past enemies and how you can get those extra seconds. That was kind of cool. But the novelty definitely did wear off, and it doesn't really feel proper. It doesn't feel right to try to skip as many gunfights as you can in a first-person shooter. It just feels kind of weird. So it does make sense that they did change it. Now, Nightfalls are an interesting thing, right? A lot of people, I'm sure right now, I know for me, absolutely, you don't play Nightfalls too much. And the reason that you don't play Nightfalls too much is that the rewards for doing Nightfalls are so limited. I think one of the main reasons for this is exotics being just so easy to get. Now, it's a very interesting history of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 and exotics, and how easy they were to get. And at the very beginning with Destiny 1, especially vanilla Destiny 1, exotics were no joke. You saw someone with an exotic and it was a big deal. I remember my first exotic was the chest piece, the crest of Alpha Lupi, and I remember I was playing a Titan and I was so thrilled when I got it, but then I realized, oh my gosh, I got the one for a Hunter. So I immediately started a Hunter just so I could use that exotic. Right? That's how big of a deal exotics were back in the day. Now they're given out just so much. Hey, you did a public event, or you showed up for the last 10 seconds of a public event, here's an exotic. You did a baseline strike, here's an exotic. You're playing the campaign, here's 3 exotics just at checkpoints throughout the campaign, right? They lose a lot of their value. And so therefore, the activities that traditionally were very good at awarding exotics, like Nightfalls, lose a lot of that value as well. Back when Destiny 1 had first come out, again, because exotics were so hard to get, the activities that rewarded them, like Nightfalls, they were a big deal. Getting a group together and being able to complete a Nightfall, which at that time, because of the leveling system, was a lot less forgiving, it was a lot harder. Doing Nightfalls and being able to complete them, it was huge. They were a huge activity in the game for quite a while, until eventually Bungie started awarding exotics in Destiny 1 a lot more frequently, especially with stuff like 3 of Coins, and then they trailed off in D1 as well. That is, quite frankly, until the Dawning hit near the last year of Destiny 1, and the Sunrise bounty was introduced. This bounty allowed you to complete a Nightfall and have the chance to get one of the best exotics in the game, which was the Icebreaker sniper rifle, but it also gave you a legendary weapon from any part of the game. So it could have been an old Year 2 Iron Banner that you can't get those weapons anymore, but now you could out of these Sunrise bounties. That was actually a really exciting feature. And the reason I'm giving this kind of history lesson is to remind you guys that when the Nightfalls were lit, the loot was lit. That's the key. And it's the key that Bungie always misses out on in these sort of things, is that you need to have loot for the activity to be worthwhile. Now thankfully it does appear that this loot is coming soon. In the next update on March 27th, so in 1 month, we have Nightfall Strike unique rewards listed as an addition. So if that comes in combination with a very much improved Nightfall, Nightfalls are going to be lit. If every single different strike has a unique weapon and hopefully armor piece that you get while it's the Nightfall, holy crap, that's going to be so much fun. I'm going to log on every single week and try to get those unique rewards. That is exactly how you're supposed to do it. But that's when two pieces of the puzzle are both connected. Right now we got one piece of the puzzle. So is this one piece of the puzzle good? Well, like I was talking about a little earlier, I think this is overall a positive change. It feels very different when you play it, and mainly, you're fighting a lot more. You're killing a lot more enemies, you're trying to get as many points as possible. Now, how it really works is that you do the normal Nightfall, you get the challenge card, which the challenge card, it's interesting. The challenge card is only active for the Prestige Nightfall, but it allows you to change modifiers and apply certain modifiers, and then get more points because of that. And then the more points you get, you're trying to reach a points threshold that will allow you to display an aura. But you do have to complete the Nightfall originally, and then that's going to give you an emblem allowing you to display that aura. Now this is a good addition for some people, a negative addition for others. The fact that you have to use this new Nightfall emblem to display the aura that you've completed the Prestige Nightfall, yeah, some people are going to like that. It means that a bunch more auras and emblems that contain auras can be introduced. It lets people know exactly, hey, he has an aura, he has an emblem, he must have done this exact strike when it was the Nightfall and Prestige, all of that stuff. But of course, the fact that you can't use an aura showcasing your achievement and then whatever emblem you want, that's kind of annoying, right? It limits what you can do as a player in the game. But I digress. Again, the point system is a positive change, but what about this whole challenge system? The challenge card is, in my opinion, a little limiting. What you can do is you can adjust the base modifier for how many points you're getting by upping what is essentially the light level up to 40. So you can have what I would assume would be 40 light levels of disadvantage. So the enemies are 40 light levels above you at that point. Or you can go backwards and make things even easier if you're having a really hard time doing it. And then on top of that, you can also put on a burn modifier, or the new burn modifiers, where instead of doubling that elemental damage, they increase it by 25% all around. So you're getting hit by enemies 25% harder as well. These are all pretty positive changes. Just messing around with the burn modifiers makes me realize just what a colossal mistake it was for Bungie to not introduce those off the bat. It was insane. It really made me feel just like in Destiny 1 with those burn modifiers, where we were putting on Void Burn. We're trying to figure out which burn to put on because which enemies would be using the lesser of that burn. For example, there's a lot of Cabal in the current Nightfall, and so you don't want to do Arc Burn because the Cabal shotguns will just tear through you in a second. So we did Void, and then you're trying to change your subclass, figure out what armor has those Void modifiers. It feels great. You're trying to min-max it, the closest thing that felt to Destiny 1 since this game started, pretty much. But I was definitely disappointed to see that no other modifiers were involved. This is a pretty cool base system that I think needs to be expanded upon. If you were able to put on a bunch of different Destiny 1 modifiers, if you were able to put on Brawler, or Catapult, or Torrent, or Small Arms, or whatever, that would be super fun. You could max out the difficulty thing all the way to 40, and then put on Catapult, which makes your grenades recharge more, and then put on arc burn or the new arc burn and then use your striker titan and be throwing those double pulse nades everywhere. That's sweet. Like, let's go back to that. Let's get more of a Destiny 1 vibe in terms of customizing your loadout based on these modifiers. And I think that would be a really huge addition and just a straight up positive addition to the system they have now. The system they have now is absolutely better than Nightfall's before, but again, it needs to be improved even further upon by just the addition of more of these optional modifiers that would give you bonuses or whatever. And then on top of having the positive modifiers that, like Catapult, that would obviously reduce your score bonus because it would make it easier, you could have negative modifiers that would make it harder on you and increase your score bonus. Something like Chaff, so you have no player radar. So like that would make it harder, and you put on that modifier, you get a little bit more of a score bonus. Now, if you do up your difficulty with this challenge card and set the burn and then do the Prestige Nightfall and you're able to get to that cutoff score, then of course again you get that aura and you also get the ability to give your team more tokens. But unfortunately, this ability, although I thought it would be active all the time, it's only active when you do that particular strike. Frankly, I think that was a mistake because being able to do the Prestige Nightfall and then get a bonus that will give your whole team more tokens, that's amazing for, more experienced players who want to help out their less experienced friends, or just who want to play Strikes after that, or the Crucible, or whatever. The fact that it's so limiting makes it a lot less desirable. Like, just people aren't going to care as much. Whereas, if you're playing with your friends who aren't able to do the Prestige Nightfall, maybe they just bought the game, maybe they don't play that often, whatever, you go out of your way to go and do the Prestige Nightfall to get them that bonus. Now you won't care. So you're going to be doing less Prestige Nightfalls. So I think Bungie's going to have to change that down the road. In addition, when you complete a Prestige Nightfall, you unlock variations to the emblem, which I think is cool. It lets people know that when you have an emblem, if they have a different symbol than you, you know, okay, this person hasn't just beat the Nightfall, they've beaten the Prestige version of this Nightfall as well. The different variations, I don't know if they're random. Like, I got a certain variation, and my two teammates got a completely different variation. So they aren't really marked or described well for how to unlock them properly. That's actually a lot of things within this update. You're kind of experimenting and figuring out what stuff does as you go. I think the descriptions for some of these changes and challenges and modifiers and so on could have been worded better, or could have existed in the first place, quite frankly. Because if you're a new player and you're gonna take this on right off the bat, or someone who hasn't watched this video, hasn't seen any updates or read any updates, and you go and you're going to be like, what the heck are all of these things? And frankly, you're probably going to miss your challenge card. It's not inherently obvious that you have a challenge card in your inventory in the first place. So I believe they could have done a better job of incorporating this into the game, making it more user-friendly perhaps. But those are my thoughts on kind of the specific things. Let's get a little bit big picture. And I think the theme of this video so far, just talking and doing this commentary, has been, okay, good change, good change, good change. They could have done this better, this better, this better, but we're waiting for this, waiting for that, waiting for mods 2.0, waiting for the exotic pass, waiting for the strike exclusive loot. Like, this change is good, but it's not really going to be until we have all those other things that we get to reap the full benefits and see if this really is a fully positive change for the game. Because this new challenge system is not going to be fully envisioned until we get mods 2.0 and until we see what those can do to our characters and to our abilities. And then we can really experiment with the different burns especially, and how high we can go with the difficulty modifiers and so on. And especially in addition to that, what I talked about at the beginning of the video, and I think it's the main point to nail home, all of these changes, as positive as they are, you're not going to care about until there's loot. So many people are going to watch this video or see the update or whatever, and then say, okay, that's cool, next time I get on the Nightfall, I'll try it out. But they're not actually going to get back on the game, because why would you? Why would you do the Nightfall right now? To get an emblem? I mean, it's kind of cool, but there's no weapons, there's no exotics that people are really gunning after. All of that stuff is just useless. So Bungie really, really has to nail home the loot aspect to make all of these changes worthwhile. And frankly, I don't think separating the Nightfall from the Nightfall loot that's coming next month was a good idea. You need both of those things, because this change feels underwhelming when you look at the fact that you do a Nightfall and you're immediately dismantling your rewards. You know, like, most of us are just going to be doing that because the rewards are so underwhelming. It's exotics that we already have, or it's new exotics that frankly are pretty underwhelming, or it's just legendaries that we could care less about. We have 15 copies of them. Maybe you get a Masterwork core or a good Masterwork, but that is the lucky exception. So, Bungie, overall decent update. A lot of positive changes to the Nightfall. I think the Nightfall is definitely better than it was before, but we can't truly say it's a positive change until all of these other changes that it relies upon actually arrive. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 updates similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.